On today's immigration is female concept. My name is Ruwan. Hello there. Do you want to study? Number 3 on your list, we have
Welcome once again to Immigration with PMF. My name is Tunde, and today we'll be discussing dual intent and how it affects an international student's prospective application. If you find this information useful, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. What is dual intent? This is a common term in immigration law. This means or describes a scenario where a foreign national has dual intentions. 1. To apply and settle for permanent residency status. 2. To apply for a temporary residence status. In other words, dual intent refers to the intention to come into a country for both permanent and temporary residence. In some countries, having dual intent is now legitimate. For example, in Canada and also in USA, under certain visa streams like the H1, the H4, the L1, and the L2. Regardless of this legitimacy now conferred on dual intent, making a temporary resident visa application still gets very, very complicated, as failure to demonstrate genuine dual intent is a very common ground for refusals. We will be examining the concept of dual intent and its relationship with an international student's application to study. As an international student, one of the things you must do in your visa application is to convince the visa officer that you would abide with all conditions attached to your study permit, which is a variant of a temporary residence visa. And the major stipulation is upon completion of your studies that you will leave your country of study. Now, we would examine the concept of dual intent and its relationship with an international student's application for study. As an international student, one of the most pertinent points in your visa application is you convincing the visa officer that you will abide by all stipulations attached to your study permit, which is a variant of a temporary residence visa. And one of the major points is you leaving the country of study upon expiration of your visa. However, pathways created by the government of certain countries shows that they have interest in international students upon completion of their studies. This might seem contradictory to the conditions which international students must meet when applying for their study permits. In summary, the relationship between dual intent and an international student's application for study visa is quite complicated. In the case of Canada, if as an international student you have not created or you don't have a pending application for permanent residency with the IRCC, it is advisable not to disclose any other further intent apart from your intent for a temporary residence visa. How does a visa officer detect dual intent in an applicant's application? The following are essentially tips of things to stay away from in your application so as not to have dual intent inferred from your application. The first is lack of strong home ties. The absence of strong home ties helps the visa officer reach a conclusion that you will not return to your home country upon the expiration of your study. The second is having sufficient means of provision. A lack or the absence of sufficient means of provision would lead the visa officer to the fact that you would not focus on your primary purpose and you would need to work to have sufficient means to meet up to your financial responsibilities. The third is genuine purpose. As an international student, you must actually have a valid admission to show that you have a genuine purpose for your traveling. And lastly, avoid discussing in details your after-study plan in the country in your application so as not to avoid the visa officer easily reaching a conclusion that you have dual intent. On today's episode, we have dissected the concept of dual intent, its legitimacy, and its relationship with an international student's application for study. If you have further information or questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section and we will reach out to you. If you found this content useful, please share, like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications for more useful information. Thank you.